You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still, I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my heartiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. I rise. I rise. Voice and Choice welcomes you to the State of Black Women Virtual Summit 2, the second in a series of outstanding summits prepared and planned with you in mind. So delighted that almost 1,000 people from 7 states and 7 countries have joined us. Please join us in honoring our legacy with the last verse of Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Black National Anthem, as recorded by the 105 Voice HBCU Choir under the leadership of Renetta Roy.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
And now, please join me in welcoming the Global Black Women Chamber of Commerce CEO, Ambassador Sujay.
Greetings and welcome to the movement, the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce Virtual Summit 2. We are so delighted. We're true to our God, true to our native land, and as Kamala Harris said, we may be the first, but we will not be the last. today you're going to find some amazing women. Some of them are first in their family to own a business. Some of them are first to start a business. But whatever it is, you're going to meet some dynamic women. I'm a third generation Black woman business owner, and I am the proud descendant of Dorothy C.J. Johnson, and she is the proud descendant of Leona Starnes Thomas. And so we are here today to celebrate and look at the business aspects of various areas of life and arenas of life. So in my first segment today, we're going to be looking at those who are millennials. They are the ones who have started businesses. I have 2 millennial sons who are all the way live and in living color. So it is my delight and honor today to welcome this millennial panel with us today. We're going to be hearing from Quinn Conyers, who is the youngest board of directors, a founding board of directors member of the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, Natalie Jenkins, and we'll also be hearing from Samantha Williams. So prepare, sit back, stay with us because it's going to be live and in living color. Welcome, my sisters. Welcome to the movement, and thank you for jumping on at the beginning of the movement. So glad to see you, and so many are tuned in. Almost 1,000 women have signed up to see you, hear from you. So I'm going to start with our youngest board member, Quinn Conyers. Tell us who you are, why you signed up to be part of the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, and what your business is.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Quinn Conyers, and I broadcast the brilliance of Black women in business so they can profit from public speaking and maximize and monetize all speaking opportunities on behalf of their business, their book, or their brand. I personally believe that our voices as Black women in business are our superpower. And the reason why I said yes to Ambassador Sujay, the reason why I said yes to the Global Black Women Chamber of Commerce, and the reason why I said yes to serve other Black women who look like me, who want to start and run their own enterprise or empire is simple. We need to hold each other accountable, but more importantly, I want the world to know that we have options when it comes to feeding our family and feeding our soul. Yes, we can get a job and there's nothing wrong with that, but we also have the option to create our own generational wealth. And by having your own business, not only are you fulfilled and you can move forward to do something that you love, you can employ jobs, but you can also learn and earn together. And that's why I love the chamber, is because there are women who are literally doing business, not just in their city and their state, but internationally. And any organization that's about uplifting and empowering Black women and doing business internationally, sign me up.
Well, you are signed up, sealed, and delivered, and we are so excited to have you. Natalie Jenkins, this is not your first rodeo with us. We are so excited to have you. Recent graduate, now almost 2 years from Drexel University. Why did you decide to start a business, and what is the business, and why did you join Global Black Women's Chamber?
Yeah, so I'm so honored to be back here with you guys. I always love hearing from you too, Quinn. I always remember how much farther I have to go in my public speaking journey whenever I hear you, so you're so encouraging. I love that. So my business is called Strategy Inc. We're a global communications firm. We help businesses look, feel, and sound their best. So we help with anything from social media management to copywriting and email marketing. I started this business because it aligns with all of my natural giftings. I have a true passion for helping people see their vision come to life. In communications, you're so involved with people in that process. So I love doing that work. I signed up for the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce because I love Ambassador Sujay, and I knew that he was leading it. It was going to be impactful for many, many people. So I love the work you're doing so far.
Love that. It's a mutual admiration. Now, Samantha Williams, we met really via the internet, and I've just been following you. You have so much going on. Tell us who Samantha Williams is. Tell us what your businesses, plural, are, and why you joined the Global Black Women's Chamber.
I'm about to say how much time we got. You want all the businesses? I don't know.
No, we're going to do like the 2-minute version.
I will say, Natalie, we need to connect because I'm doing the same thing and I'm building my brand. So I am Samantha Williams, president and CEO of Sam's Word, which was the first business I started, which is primarily a writing and content development company serving micro to mid-sized businesses. The business grew over the years, and this year, February, during Black History Month, I launched 628 Digital Design, which is a digital content design agency focusing on some of the things Natalie was saying. So social media management, email marketing, blog writing, newsletter development, website design, strategy, copywriting and implementation, graphic design and marketing materials. I'm also the president of Melanated Business Coaching, which is a business coaching program I started in November for Black women in business. And Ambassador, as you know, I'm the president of the Collaboration of Minority Women Professionals. We are not at the level of the chamber yet, but we're getting there. We started 2 years ago with about 6 members. We went virtual over the summer, and we're up to 59 members in 11 states. So we are growing. And that's the Collaboration of Minority Women Professionals. And in the midst of all that, I'm remote schooling a 7-year-old. So that's why you saw me go off camera right quick. So
no, we're going to come back to that because a lot of you are juggling. Quinn has 2 young ones under the age of 6. And so we're going to talk about how do we juggle that work-life balance, because that's very important to me. We're the only chamber that takes the summers off. So your membership is a 10-month membership because I really want to insist that we take time to take time. And so that's been very important to me. So we're going to hire all of you at some point. So you make us proud. I want to tell you that. But we're going to hire all of you because I believe it's important to hire our own when we can for Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. So
I agree.
You grew your business right out of college. Why didn't you work for someone, or did you? And then what made you say, I want to be an entrepreneur and not an employee?
Yeah, sure. So I had a couple of jobs before I launched my own company. So I worked in Philadelphia. I went to Drexel University. I stayed there for about almost 2 years working with a consulting firm and working with a nonprofit. So I loved the work that I did there. I was so passionate about the communities we were serving, which were incarcerated people and their family members. So passionate about it. But with smaller organizations, there comes a point where you kind of reach the max of your potential growth in that space.
Yeah.
At that point, and I also did the corporate thing. I worked at a law firm. I did not enjoy the corporate world. I was bored, to be honest. So having my own projects, I was freelancing this whole time. I realized that is what I love to do. I loved having the flexibility to take on who I wanted to take on, to only work on things I really cared about. Well, also
almost overnight, you've gone global. You have clients around the world now, which is so exciting. So I'm going to ask Quinn and Sammy. So, when you pick up the phone now and you call corporate America, they said, there may be an animal or there may be a child in the background. So how have you juggled during COVID? Homeschooling, creating businesses, and getting clients. I'm going to start with Sammy and then I'm going to come to Quinn.
Wine. Lots of wine. I just ordered some wine from the McBride sisters. They have the Black Girl Magic wine. So supporting the Black women in the wine industry, why not? But I would say it's a juggling act. It's not a balance. There is no work-life balance. It doesn't exist. Just before this call, I had to run out to the store to get the stuff for his class and get back here on time. And it's just constantly juggling. What I do is I fit his schedule into my schedule also. The time I need to take to prepare his lunches, to get him ready in the morning, that time is blocked out on my calendar. He has recess every day at 10. That time is blocked out on my calendar. And so incorporating his schedule into my own schedule, that really helps a lot. And also remembering that it's okay if I'm not doing everything, if I'm not hitting every target right now.
Say that again. Say that again. Self-care is okay. Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
Give yourself some grace. Right?
Exactly.
We're in a pandemic, okay?
So I'm glad you're supporting the sisters with the wine. It's interesting that one of the essential stores that were open during COVID were the wine and liquor stores. So we thank you for supporting a sister.
That's right. It wasn't essential.
Yeah, it was very essential. Quinn, how do you schedule yourself in with 2 young boys? And let me just say this to you, Sammy, it does get better. Mine are 25 and 27. They still need attention, but you do get a chance to get a massage every now and then. Quinn, how do you handle your 2?
Bribery works. No, they're actually back at a learning center. They were shut down for about 3 months due to COVID, but because they were a traditional school and the class sizes were smaller, I was blessed to be able to take them back. And to be honest with you, I had a whole new level of love and appreciation for educators and pre-kindergarten, because I have a 3 and a 5-year-old. So, and to be honest, it was a very tough transition. I mean, I just had to be transparent. And, you know, like Samantha just said, I mean, grace. I mean, one meeting, I remember having a conversation with a contractor over the state of North Carolina for Kaiser Permanente. And I was going to do some public speaking training for him and his staff. And I had my 3-year-old on my lap during this meeting. The old Quinn would have died. You know what I mean? Because I would want to show up professional and polished. But at the time, he was crying and I didn't have an option. And at the time, it was like, listen, I'm going to either choose one or the other, or we're going to combine and we're going to go from there. And it worked itself out. He kind of had his chest right here.
Just mature now. We've even created our board meetings around times that were convenient for you, because we wanted to make sure that you could get them to bed on time. And I think that that's one of the maturing things, and that what women can do, because we've been experienced it before. We're like, no, she needs a minute. You know, if she needs to miss this meeting, it's okay. So let me say, I'm a boomer. I just got in the mail one of these things about Medicare, my next birthday. It just blew me away. So I am just learning email and social media. What's the one tool you feel as millennials we cannot make it without in business? I'm going to ask you like popcorn. Natalie, what do you think is the 1 or 2 tools that we must have for our business to survive in this climate?
Okay, I'm just going to say social media because it dominates everything. And it's also what I do, but it's really important.
Okay, Quinn?
Yeah, I was going to say social media as well, but I think to go beyond that, I'm just being communication skills, knowing how to have a conversation with people, because at the end of the day, if you can't have a conversation and talk, you cannot be able to convert or close clients.
Awesome. Sammy, what do you think? You have writing, you have collaboration. What do you think is a tool?
So, you know, all of the above, right? But I also think, like Natalie was saying with the social media, email marketing, you got to stop neglecting your email list. Build your email list. You need email marketing. And then on the emerging trends, you need Clubhouse. You really need to be taking advantage of Clubhouse right now.
Quinn is the queen of Clubhouse. I haven't been on when you've been on, but I think you're over 6,000 followers now on Clubhouse. She's even had a contest. And so I'm going to ask the 3 of you for our first anniversary, which comes up in October, to be part of our campaign and planning, because you have the minds that we need to reach. And we hope through this particular event that our email marketing has been sufficient. We had almost 1,000 people through mainly.
That's amazing.
And so we're really amazed by that. So let me ask you another question as we're beginning to close this segment. What are your dreams? You certainly are creating them now, but what's your biggest dream? Can you tell us, Natalie, what's your biggest dream?
Gosh, you know, I was not expecting this question. This is a great question.
That's why I'm a good moderator. Yes.
Moderator. I would have to say my dream is to lead a life, so a career, lead a family, lead all of my relationships in a way that makes younger generations feel like I can do that and I want to do that.
Awesome. Quinn, what are you hoping your legacy, or what's your dream?
Oh man, such a good question. What is my dream? What is my legacy? You know, I want to open my mouth and reach the masses in a matter of minutes. My dream is to literally host things like Black Girls Rock, NAACP Image Awards, BET Honors. Like, I want to be a part of Black excellence. I want to inhale like Black Girl Magic and exhale cocoa butter. So anytime I can like highlight, amplify, illuminate, you know, our race in a way that's positive, I want to be a part of that. So things like that is what really gets me excited.
So retweet that. Inhale Black Girl Magic and exhale cocoa butter. Really, what's your dream? I know you have several, but what's your big dream?
I just want to say, Quinn, I think you're already doing that. You already exude it. You are living it. Okay, you're living the dream. I would say, you know, thinking about the legacy, my biggest thing, I am a huge supporter and promoter of Black women. I hope that I am remembered for constantly doing everything in my power to uplift, like Quinn said, amplify, support, empower Black women. You have a voice. Use your voice.
Wonderful. Well, you are my legacy. I want you to know that I am so excited about all of you, what you're doing. And we're going to take a few questions and answers from our community. If you have a question, just put it in the chat. Please also let us know where you're from. But if you have a question, please put it in the chat. And Cynthia Barnes, our wonderful, wonderful moderator behind the scenes, will pose a question to us. Do we have any questions at this point yet, Cynthia?
We do. First of all, thanks a lot to the Millennials for joining us on this session. Got a lot of chat going on about your comments, but the one question that I have right now is probably directed to Samantha is Clubhouse available for Android users yet? And if not, are we locking out a potential segment?
So there is that fear of missing out happening with Clubhouse right now. It is not currently available. They are developing it for Android. So just be a little bit more patient. I do know people who went and got an iPad or an iPhone just for Clubhouse. I have to say, I know several people who did that. But yes, there are some people who are going to be locked out from that means of communication. And on Clubhouse, people are mediating that. So there are people who live stream from Clubhouse to YouTube, to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to other platforms to try to make sure that they are all encompassing. But then there are other people using it as a strategic marketing tool to say, if you want this information, it's only exclusive for this community. So you have to think of it that way also.
Okay, thank you.
You just had Quinn Melanin at the mic. You just had a contest with what, $22,000 in prizes. How did you use Clubhouse to do that? And then we have to do this quickly. I think this is our last question. Yes.
Yeah, so you're right. I hosted Melanin at the Mic, the very first audio-only competition show for Black motivational speakers airing on Clubhouse. I did auditions, I got sponsors, and one Melanin motivator actually won over $22,000 in cash and prizes. And what we did was we gave them a series of speaking challenges that literally sharpened their speaking and polished their presentation. And then each time they had to kind of battle it out in a friendly competition, and one person was crowned the winner. And it was amazing. And it just really amplified the voices of Black professional motivational speakers.
Very good.
You've heard, that's another platform. But if you're watching us either on YouTube, LinkedIn, or even Facebook, give us a thumbs up, a like, comment. Let us know. Share it with someone else. Let them know we're on live right now and in living color. You have heard from three dynamic, amazing, got it going on millennials. Is that even said anymore? That's boomer talk. But you've heard from Quinn Conyers, Natalie Jenkins, Samantha Williams. Can they reach you on social media?
Yes.
All of the above. Okay. Absolutely. So you've heard these names. Remember them. Quinn Conyers, Natalie Jenkins, and Samantha Williams. Thank you for joining the movement. And we will do so much together, connecting, collaborating, creating, and going places. Dr. Seuss says, oh, the places you will go, you've already started going. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care and have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's once again thank our panelists of Millennials. Members of our next generation are doing new and phenomenal things. So just wave your hand in support. And now, let's have a word from one of our dynamic sponsors.
Win government contracts. Founder and CEO of JP Alignment Consulting, JPAC, Dr. Joyce Fields is a government contracts consultant with more than 30 years of experience in helping government contractors win and retain contracts. Additionally, Dr. Fields has written RFPs for federal government agencies. Having worked within government agencies as well as with government contractors, she has developed an inside as well as outside perspective of what it takes to win government contract awards and maintain those contracts. We at JPAC want to help you learn how to get government contracts and how to retain them. Visit JP Alignment Consulting at dodconsultants.com. That's dodconsultants.com and click on Contact Us.
Where is she?
And we're back. At this time, our next segment is African Woman of the Year, author with Power Secrets of Women World Leaders. Please join us in welcoming Miss Justina Mutali.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're delighted you're live. We're so happy to have you, Your Excellency, Justina Mutale. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. And congratulations on all your global work that you've done, the accomplishments and representing us well as Black women, as African women of the diaspora. Thank you for joining us. We met, if you don't recall, years ago in Atlanta when they were starting their Black enterprise productions under Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom. She had just gotten elected into office, and we were on a panel together and for the whole global forum. And
I remember that.
Yes, but I have followed you, and you have a new book out. Tell us the title of your book.
So the title of my book is there. The Art of Iconic Leadership, Power Secrets of Female World Leaders.
And you're right on time because this is the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. And we can see it now. Thank you. The Art of Iconic Leadership, Power Secrets. And so you are our global representation today. You're born, is it in Zambia, and you're living in London?
Yes, yes.
And so there's a large African community in London, I understand, but you have been able to go global, taking your gifts, helping girls and women to their fullest empowerment. But in the meantime, you have been able to talk to some of the world's leaders, Black and white. And so we're going to talk about maybe 5 power secrets of women who are powerful women. And you said one of them is having high emotional intelligence. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and a couple others are compassion, courage, high intellect, and charisma. So my company, my speakers bureau is called Charisma Speakers. So that's always attractive to me. So why is it important for women such as yourself and myself to have that charisma when we go into a room, whether it's a local boardroom or whether it's a global boardroom? Why is charisma important?
To begin with, charisma attracts attention. As soon as you walk into that room, you have presence. You have everybody wanting to come to you. You have everybody paying their attention towards you. And charisma as well has got to do with communication, the way you communicate, the way you put your words together. Some of the women that I have featured under the power of charisma in my book include, for example, Michelle Obama. She has such brilliant charisma that everybody just wants to listen whenever she stands up, whenever she speaks. But of course, with charisma comes elegance in appearance.
Yes, I stayed up late last night. She was on the late night show with Jimmy Fallon, and I stayed up because I wanted to see her. She has now a new talk show for children and just a whole company with President Obama called Higher Ground. So I was definitely drawn into her. Her book Becoming has been the #1 bestseller around the world. She just crushed it. But you also talk about resilience, that there's not a lot of difference between Black women and white women leaders, but when we have to navigate racism, white women have more opportunities because they don't have to fight the racism like we do every day. Has that been your finding?
That is true, of course. That is true everywhere you go. Remember, I come from Zambia, and Zambia used to be a British colony. So, of course, the majority of British people are white. So they came and dominated. So there is still, even from Zambia or any other part of the world, there's this thing about white women having it all, having it easy, having all these opportunities, life opportunities, business opportunities thrown at them very easily, while Black women have to fight and navigate the racism, the institutional discrimination that puts Black people at the back burner. So this is where the problem is.
Totally. And that's why we formed the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, because racism is not just limited to the United States, although it's very prevalent, as the world has seen. But racism is wherever there are Black people or people of color have to fight this constantly. And certainly, let me just express my condolences to the people in Atlanta, the people of Asian descent who lost loved ones who are being under attack. And let us express on behalf of Global Black Women's Chamber that we stand in solidarity with you. But I like to say, with resilience also comes brilliance, and you epitomize all of that: the charisma, the brilliance, the resilience. I love the way you enter the room, and even the way you enter the screen. You also shared, though, that agility and versatility are part of the power secrets. So we're women of power. We want to make sure we have the secrets down pat. Talk to us about agility and versatility.
Agility and versatility gives you the ability to be able to navigate a very volatile environment. You have to be agile enough that you can adapt. When things change, you adapt. For example, this is the thing that this is a power that women hold, both in politics and as well as in business. When you look at how the world has handled the COVID-19, those countries led by women come tops. Those women led by women were the ones that handled the COVID-19 much better than any other country led by a man in the world. So that is the agility, of course, the resilience, the versatility that women have. They can adapt. They know how to. They are resilient, and of course, we bring with us the natural instincts. The natural instinct that makes us, first of all, sense these things, but of course, the resilience that makes us withstand those things that are difficult for example, for men. Women have always triumphed where men have found situations hopeless.
That's why we always say, I feel you, because we have that. There's some people call it the sixth sense, but we feel each other's vibe. Whether we're in the same room or even in the same digital space, we feel each other because we have that sixth sense, that natural instinct. I had the privilege of sitting with Her Excellency Sir Johnson Sirleaf, the first Black woman president of the continent of Africa. And as you said, women are always on the front lines doing so much more. And it was the women there that led the revolution for peace. So where is the resistance? You know, we have resilience, but so many people resist us because of our brilliance and our resilience. Have you found that in your work in terms of trying to build your business and your brand? Have you found resistance?
Of course, there's always resistance for some reason. This is something we've been talking about because we are currently at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, which is going on under the theme of decision making in public life. And one of the discussions we had was, we need to educate our men to understand that we can coexist.
Yes.
We can work together in the same places. They do not need to feel threatened by us, because it has been said that sometimes men are threatened by very strong women, whether it's in the home or in the workplace, but they don't need to feel that way.
Very much so. And congratulations on being there with you in Commission on Status of Women. But finally, it's because one of the things you said is for business, we have to focus and walk with purpose. And you have done just that. And we're so excited that you have been part of us. Cynthia, do we have any questions for Her Excellency Justina Matale?
Say at this time, I don't have any questions for her.
Well,
thank you very much for Dr. Matale.
You
Thank you.
are.
Thank you,
This is
Cynthia.
what we say in New York. We say you are the bomb. We are so excited to have you. And I hope this will be the last time. And I hope you will join our movement as we join with you, the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. And we want to thank all of you for joining us for this segment. She is awesome. Her Excellency, Justina Matale. And hold the book up one more time for us, please. Hold the book up one more time for us so we can get it. The Art of Iconic Leadership, Power Secrets of Female World Leaders. And you too are female world leaders in business. Thank you for joining us. Give us a thumbs up, put your comments and your questions in each segment in the chat box, and share it with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. There's more to come.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Justina Mutale. We are grateful that you've shared your power secrets, power moves, and power of policy. Now, please stay tuned for a video from one of our sponsors and board member.
Good afternoon, Mayor Bowser.
Good afternoon.
I know we got you in the middle of a busy day, but you have a busy day every day. So first of all, let me say thank you for sharing a few minutes with us in the middle of a very hectic schedule. Thank you for inviting me to speak at your inaugural prayer service a couple of years ago. You're the first female to have 2 terms for the District of Columbia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you recall, I was in Cuba Libre with a group called the Girlfriends. You were in the city council and they brought you by as a candidate for mayor. And
Wow.
I shook your hand, I gave you $25. So I was all in.
Well, thank you.
And then you were elected. And I just want you to know we have admired you with great admiration. We're the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, and we were birthed a year ago in your city, in District of Columbia. So we've created 25 jobs, 25 employers of PPE equipment. And I want you to know my son is part of your Live Long DC, and he's an MD. He just graduated from medical school. And so they're doing the facilities where people are getting vaccinated. So a shout out to you for being on the front lines of vaccinations. But I just want to ask you, the picture that we had up on the screen was you with the late Don Lewis, our congressman, and then you were painting the Black Lives mural. So it was our present, it was our past, and it was our future. How do you stand as the juxtaposition for these generations? How do you feel, and how did you feel at that moment?
Well, I felt very honored. It turns out that that was Congressman Lewis's last public appearance. And we feel honored because I think he was deliberate in that choice, that he wanted to be on Black Lives Matter to send a signal to young activists to keep pushing, keep fighting, that the time to pass the baton was now. I feel personally privileged because he asked me to join him. He didn't have to ask me to be there, but he did, because he wanted to give me that message too. And I accepted it on behalf of all leaders like myself who are in a position to make change.
Well, thank you for being in that position, and you've changed so well and made change so well. You know, Langston Hughes says, you know, what happens to a dream deferred? You came in certainly with lots of dreams, but then there's been an insurrection on the Capitol steps. There's been Black Lives Matter. There's been the George Floyd case. There have been so many insurrections and things that have happened. Is your dream deferred, or does it keep you going?
Oh, are you kidding? My dream burns. It burns hotter than ever.
I love it.
Yes, absolutely. But for me, I'm kind of sitting in the chair. I have a different perspective. But I think your question is really important for all the people that we serve. I know that you are representing women in business in this discussion, and I know for a lot of them, their businesses have been disrupted or maybe decimated. For others, they're growing and they see opportunity. So I think when I think of dreams, I think of all the people out there who are kind of resetting their lives in COVID. Some people are looking around and think things are great. Other people are thinking, maybe it's time to make a change. So I think that the way that we're dreaming in COVID is really vibrant and real. And we have to get to the other side so that we can continue to realize those dreams.
So the big word is pivot. What have you had to pivot in terms of your plans, in terms of running this city, the nation's capital?
Well, I've had to pivot everything. And I think that if to get on the other side of this thing, that's what it requires. But for example, we basically changed our organization completely. I literally changed my organization chart so it focused on COVID. What I realized early on that nothing mattered until we crushed this virus. And we had to change the whole focus of the government to doing that. But it taught us a very important lesson that when you put your best and brightest, you focus on one thing. As a leader, I focused on one thing. We can do some huge things in the city. We have the resources, we have the talent, and our residents have been incredible, making a lot of sacrifices, having good ideas, being creative. Just thinking about all the entrepreneurs, a lot of female entrepreneurs in the hospitality business, which is really affected by COVID. And they've been creative and innovative. And they give us ideas, and they're going to come back, and they're going to come back better than ever.
But you've been helpful with that. I was living on the wharf when COVID happened. And so you shut down the wharf. I remember it was thousands of people there. So thank you for taking a tough stand. Even when people don't understand it, it's best for your city. But what are you doing? Some of the initiatives for entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs. I get the text messages on Wednesdays at 4:00. Tell us some of the initiatives for female business owners in your city.
Well, I think that this is where we see, and thanks to the Congress and President Biden and Vice President Harris for moving the American Rescue Plan, because we're going to be able to not only reinvest, as I see it right now, in relief programs. We're kind of still in the relief period, but in how we're going to recover. We know that women have exited the workplace in massive numbers in COVID, and women-owned businesses have suffered. So I think looking at how we invest the American Rescue Plan in our entrepreneurs and in women is going to mean how we come back from this. Totally. And that's what we're interested in. So if you ask me what some key initiatives are, I'll tell you the buckets that we're working on. Healthcare. How do we attack these inequities that we knew existed, but COVID has exploded? We have African Americans make up about 75% of the people who died from COVID in our city. A huge disparity. We know how we accelerate learning for children is going to be important. And actually how we reform. Now we have an opportunity here and we have to grab it. We have to use this as an opportunity to look at all the things that we streamlined for businesses during COVID because we weren't doing things in person, or we're trying to help get more customers and keep them. For example, we had some of the most antiquated liquor laws of anywhere around.
Yes.
But, we introduced the reform bill so our businesses can work better than that. We were using our public space on streets to park cars instead of having people be able to spread out. And so having street eateries have allowed us to do that. We have come up with ways that people don't have to come to our DMV, or they don't have to come to our DCRA, but they can do more things online. So we're going to streamline that. And now I may even have the audacious idea to make it cheaper to do business in DC that I'll present to the council as well. And some of those things are hard. They look at people who are suffering and who are out of work, and some policymakers don't want to give businesses a break, but businesses employ those people, and we got to keep them here right in the district. Because I think what the big opportunity is for all of us is to think, how is the world going to be different? It's not going to be the same.
It won't be the same.
For the same world. So what's going to be new this year, next time? And the businesses that have that vision and can respond to that demand are going to be wildly successful.
Totally. And we're going to be looking at emerging markets, but we have 25 Black women that we've trained to become Black women distributors of PPE equipment so that we can buy from our own. So they'll be available to you.
Lord knows we're going to be buying a lot of PPE for the foreseeable future. So that's good news that we have people out there that are trustworthy to deliver good quality products.
That's right. We can deliver. So let me ask you this. Our last panel was with millennials who have created businesses, some of them who are in the DMV. We also talked to them about motherhood and managing business. And you're running the business of a city, but you're also a mother of a young one.
Yes.
How do you manage?
Well, I've been very lucky. My village has stepped in. I have outstanding childcare. And my daughter is not yet school age.
Okay.
So I haven't had to deal with the Zoom school.
Right.
And that's a good thing. But I'm looking forward to her to being able to go to school with all of the kids in the district in the fall. And we also have some very robust summer programming, camps, real school, in-person opportunities, and we're looking forward to 5 days a week of school in the fall.
Beautiful daughter. So let me ask you this question, and as we're closing, and you've been so generous with your time. If you have time for Q&A, we'll take that, but if not, we'll also honor that. But not only are you managing a family and a city, but you have the audacity to become the 51st state. What can
Yes.
people in the district do to help you? What can people outside of the district do to help that be a reality?
Well, first of all, we need all the Democratic senators to be co-sponsoring our 51st state bill. And there are some who need to come on. So we'll say that. And then all the Republicans who are using partisan excuses not to support people having representation, they need to come on.
Okay.
Then we need to be pressuring everybody not to stand in the way of filibuster reform. I was actually watching on my way to here today a little clip, if you haven't seen it, from Trevor Noah, a comedian,
Yes.
brilliant, who dismantles the filibuster. Comical, but so real. And so I want to laugh, but I can't laugh because I know it's that filibuster that's keeping us away from our two senators.
So should we write to our legislators from whatever state we're in to support it, or is there some internal work that has to be done first?
No, you should let your senators know that you support DC statehood and filibuster reform.
Totally. Do you have time for one question or so from our audience?
Sure.
Okay. Cynthia Barnes, who's our wonderful moderator, will you come on with a question for us for the mayor, please?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today, Mayor Bowser. The question I have for you today, any special initiatives or programs specifically for Black business women owners to thrive in the DC area?
Yes, we have a myriad of business programs. I won't even be able to list them all, but we have a Department of Small and Local Businesses.
Okay.
We, out of a $15 billion budget in the district, I set a goal and we've exceeded it. We spent over $1 billion with our small and local businesses. We have a number of business councils also focused on women, including our Beacon initiatives that's focused on female techpreneurs, which is our niche that we're growing in the district for people of color to start tech companies, to get investment for their companies, and to grow their companies right in the district. So I would encourage you to look into that.
So that you can go to your website, the mayor's website?
Yes, dc.gov, DSLBP, economic development, and you'll find all of our programs for startup businesses and growing businesses.
Well, Madam Mayor, thank you for sharing this time. I'm one of your fans. I want to be part of your village, whether you like it or not. I love you. And I'll cheer you on. Thank you so much for your service, your leadership, and your friendship. Thank you for sharing this time with the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay.
All that she is doing for the people of the District of Columbia, and we are especially appreciative of the things that she will be doing for businesses within the District of Columbia. Have you ever thought, what books are today's women of power and purpose reading today? Let's just take a look at this. So now we're entering our segment of Ministries Making a Difference. We have a fabulous panelist for you today. And as our moderator, Ambassador Sujay, comes, we are anxious to hear what's happening in the faith-based business.
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. And doesn't she have a beautiful voice? That's Reverend Cynthia C.J. Terry. She's the voice of choice. And we like to say the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce is the voice and the choice for Black women business owners. So we're so delighted that you're with us. And as our ministers who are making a difference are joining us today, we want to just remind you, you can join us by Facebook Live, YouTube, or LinkedIn. And please give us a thumbs up and a comment. You're hearing from some today's contemporary voices that are making a difference in every field. I'm a minister, an ordained minister, and we're about to enter the holy season. But we're going to talk with some women today whose ministries are making a difference outside the four walls. For one thing, COVID has shown us is that it's not inside anymore. The digital space is new for many, but there's other ministries that are going on right outside of those walls. And so they're getting ready to join me. And if you will just join with me in celebrating Reverend A. Olivia Lang, Reverend Dr. Joan Wharton, Reverend Chaplain Takana Jefferson. And we also have with us, the three of them have joined us this morning. Dr. Joan Wharton, Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith, of Bread for the World. And I'm just going to start out just saying, hey, all of you, I have admired your ministries from near and far. Not only have we ministered and labored in the fields, but we've become friends. Some of us see each other more than others or talk on the phone and now in the digital space. But let me just give a shout out to you and salute you. So Dr. Joan Wharton, I think we may have known each other the longest in terms of professional life. Can you just share with us your church and then the ministry of One Church, One Child? What are you hoping to do?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this dynamic team of women.
I'm happy to have you
today. And I am the executive director of One Church, One Child, which is a referral, adoption, and foster care program for the state of Maryland. And what we do, we find homes for our foster children in the system. And believe me, that's more than a notion.
And it's been over 25 years? It's been over 25 years for you.
Yes, I've been executive director since 2003.
Wow.
But
wow.
One Church, One Child has been around for a long time with in various states around our nation. And
in your tenure, how many? Go ahead. I was going to say, in your tenure, how many children have been placed in homes just from the time that you've been executive director?
Through the One Church, One Child program, since its initiation, over 100,000 children have been placed in homes, foster/adoption.
Thank you so much for your work.
Initiative.
Thank you so much for your work. And you're a blessing, and those children's lives are blessed. You've already changed the trajectory for them to be not in the system any longer. Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith, tell us about Bread for the World. I've known you since seminary. You were the first liturgical dancer I ever met, and I just celebrate you. We've gone through Operation Crossroads Africa, so many journeys together, but tell us what you're doing now and why it's so important. Your mic is muted. 1 second. We'll come back to you. Can we unmute her mic, please?
I'm unmuted now. Sorry.
Thank you.
I am celebrating the Recovery Act passed. It included the Black Farmers Bill. We're going to do what's right by Black farmers. Yes, people who have been hungry with this COVID season, 15% more for SNAP. Yes, people are getting checks in the mail. Yes, Bread was out front on all of those issues. And so I am celebrating in this moment, knowing we have farther to go. And so we're fighting on. We have our Pan-African Women's of Faith meetings. We just had our global webinars. We just finished that. And we had hundreds of people around the world watching that, engaging our issues. There's just so much wonderful things happening, Ambassador. And you're so right. We go way back.
I know. Is your main mission to eradicate hunger and poverty around the world?
Right. In hunger, in poverty. And we are in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. We're all about the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. And number 1 and 2, and then, of course, the issue of number 10 around race and ethnicity and bringing down the walls of discrimination. Those are key areas for us. And also global climate justice.
Yes, definitely going to come. I want to dig a little deeper in that. Chaplain Takana Jefferson, I salute you. Thank you for your service to our nation. Tell us who you are. What do you do as a chaplain for the United States Navy?
First, I want to say thank you so much, Ambassador, for having me here on today with such a great panel of fabulous women. I feel honored. What I do as a Navy chaplain, well, first, I'm Takana Jefferson, Navy chaplain, and we take care of Coast Guard, Marines. I've been with them, and also the Navy as well. I've been a Navy chaplain now going on 10 years. I have a total of 28 years in the military. I came in at 18 and still going, came in enlisted and became a chaplain. It was something that was my passion because I saw how much our military service members needed. You know, we're away from home. We're deployed out at sea for 6 to 9 months at a time without our families. And so the things that go along with that, being out in the field, and then especially now in the midst of COVID, some of our sailors have been separated from their families from a long length of time when COVID first happened because they could not reunite. So just being able to be there for our sailors, for our Marines, and for our Coast Guard who defend our nation. So it's very a unique ministry. You know, resiliency is so important. Mental health is so important in a time like this. So that is some of the things that I do in regards to ensuring the overall well-being of our sailors and coasties and Marines.
Well, thank you for your service, as I shared. We're going to come back and talk about if one wants a career or business of being in the chaplaincy, what does it take? But Olivia Lang, oh, you have been there. I've been an admirer of yours for so many years. And you are a first lady of a congregation, but you have a unique faith relationship with CVS. Can you tell us about that, please? And she's muted also. Can you unmute, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Well, thanks again, Ambassador Cook, for the invitation. I consider it a privilege to join the panel today. And yes, I have truly been blessed at CVS Health to lead our faith-based initiatives program. The faith-based director's role is really in response to our commitment to social justice and equity. Back in June of 2021, our company made a $600 million commitment to close the gap of inequity in the areas of health disparities, education, and workforce development.
Yes.
And I was just so blessed because my background in ministry, I was licensed in the gospel in 2018. And my Christian education background, being licensed in ministry, role in supporting my husband as pastor, really was the right type of skill set that we needed to really execute on our faith-based initiatives program. So I have been blessed to work with clergy leaders all across the country that are doing innovative ministries around congregational care ministries, affordable housing, food, shelter, clothing, second chance programs. So I look forward to just, talking more about that as we work with the panel.
We're so glad that all of you are there because it changes the lives of so many. I'm just going to dig right in because we're a Chamber of Commerce, Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. Some of you are members, and we're so excited about a movement of Black women business owners. But what happens when the minister who is giving so much, especially during COVID, how do you get ministry? I'm going to ask that because that's an important part of business for me, that we have that work-life balance. Where do you go for ministry? Chaplain Takana.
Oh, I definitely, for me, it is. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, all right. Definitely for me, it's prayer and meditation. Also riding my Peloton. I have to throw that out there. For me, it is definitely the exercise and making sure I eat right. All of that for me is, being plant-based. All of that for me is part of taking care of myself and, having my boundaries. I have times where I withdraw and I just read and meditate on God's word and just use that time to replenish myself. So that is one of the ways that I do to keep that balance. I turn the phones off, turn the laptops off, won't answer after a certain time, and just use that time to rejuvenate myself.
And we celebrate your plant-based decision. And even when we go out to a steakhouse, I'm still gonna have my prime rib, but it's okay. But we celebrate. We have a story behind that. Dr. Jones, I got more pictures of your first grandchild, Asia, when she was born, and now you have 4 beautiful grandchildren. Tell us kind of how do you balance your life so that you can keep your ministry going and your business going?
Well, I balance my life, as you said, my 4 grandchildren. I look forward to sharing time with them and planning activities and events with them, knowing that I don't have to have them long because they can go back to their parents. And I'm on the Daniel fast, which is a 40-day fast with my season with the Ministry Incorporated. And so with the Daniel fast, that's plant-based.
Yeah. So I'm not on that. I'm not on that one.
Well, eating healthy, exercising well, and making sure that the body, mind, and spirit is on one accord. And I like to play solitary on the computer.
Awesome. I've rediscovered swimming. That's become my sport, and I do it as often as I can, daily if I can, but that's the way I get it. And that way I can burn up some of that meat. I'm not on the Daniel fast. Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith, talk to us. You are a dancer through seminary. What do you do now in terms of balance, work-life balance? Your child is
I'm so glad you asked. Every morning I am on my elliptical machine with my music in my ears, my meditation in my ears, then silence. I have a whole rhythm. And then if the music moves me, I'm dancing. And so that is my time. That is my space. And the other thing I love is biking. I love being outside on my bicycle. And the weather is breaking. I'm on my way.
Awesome. I love it. Now, Olivia Lang, you are First Lady. You are connecting congregations with the CVS Interfaith Initiative. Where do you find time for the business so that you can be in the best business form possible for you?
Thank you so much for that question. And yes, I rise early in the morning, consistently between 5:30 and 6, and I give myself an hour before I start my day in serious prayer, serious meditation, reading the Bible. I journey. I give myself 1 hour before I start my day. And since we've been through COVID, I've had the opportunity to really spend more time in meditation. And also I try to get a little bit of exercise in there, not as much. I need to do more, but I enjoy most that opportunity just to be in prayer. And I also listen to worship music. I get my praise on, before I start.
Okay. I love it. So we're in a season of pandemics. It's the first time in our lifetime that we have experienced a global pandemic. And so now we not only have the COVID-19, coronavirus, but we also have a racial pandemic that we knew about all of our lives. How do you prioritize what issue you're going to focus on? That, there's so much, there's hunger, there's racism. Dr. Angelique, how do you decide what you're going to prioritize?
I'm so glad you asked. I have an intersectional approach. So I think these things work together and sometimes they sort out, but I try to be more holistic in terms of looking at all the different sides of how these things have interconnectedness. And that really helps me because those things are operating at any given time, depending on what issue you're dealing with. So I find an intersectional approach very helpful to help sustain how we connect up.
Awesome. Awesome. Dr. Jones. you are a pastor,
Yeah.
and you're also running One Church, One Child. You're live on the mic there. So tell us, for you, how do you prioritize and focus on one particular issue? Which one becomes more important at what time?
I kind of
How do you
organize my day
prioritize what to focus on? There's so much going on. How do you prioritize what to focus on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Yes. Well, each night before I turn in, I look at the day that's going to happen, and then I prioritize what is most important.
Okay.
That's the
okay.
number
So you
one
take it
task.
on a daily basis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do it like that. A, B, C. And so if D don't get accomplished in the day, then it goes over to the next day. But
And that's really what the scriptures talk about. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the scriptures say, don't be anxious for tomorrow. So when I go to bed, I say, I have done the best I could do for this day. And I make sure that I have a good sleep. All of you are so exciting. We're going to have a couple of questions from our audience. We're almost out of time. You're so exciting. I'm going to have each one of you back for a future segment. But Cynthia, do we have any questions from our audience?
Say yes. What have you seen to be the most important as ministers in regards to mental health of the people you serve?
I'm going to ask Chaplain Takano to answer that first, please.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to repeat that one more time just so I can answer correctly.
In terms of the people that you serve, what's most important in regards to mental health?
Yes, the well-being with families. You know, for us as military service members, our families are everything. They are the reason why we do what we do a lot of times. Like, yes, we love country, gonna throw that out there, but it's also our families. And so when the pandemic came, it made it difficult because people couldn't see their grandparents, they couldn't see their uncles, their moms. You know, we're separated from everyone. So finding ways to help people work through that was probably, and has been, because we're still in COVID, we're still in the pandemic, probably has been the most challenging event to work through.
So in addition to yourself as chaplain and there are other chaplains, are there mental health counselors available as well?
Yes, they are. We have a whole, that's one thing about the military. They take that very seriously. They spend a lot of money to ensure that we have what we call Fleet and Family Services, which they have a range of counselors, psychologists who are awesome. Then we also have we call MFLACs, which are military family life counselors as well, and they come out and talk to our our service members to ensure that they have and get what they need, as well as the families. Because if they're here as a family unit, but they're away from their mothers, grandfathers, or whoever, they're also even the dependents, the spouses, or whoever can actually have access to Fleet and Family Services. So it is definitely a family and holistic approach.
That's awesome. Last question, Cynthia?
So I wanted to expand that to that's excellent for the military. We wanted to, the audience would like to hear in regards to non-military, what we're doing in regards to mental health for your communities.
Yes, Fleet and Family, yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask also A. Olivia Lang with the CVS initiative. Is it also built in for mental health?
Yes, it is. Yes, we are launching a second chance program to help transition individuals that have been incarcerated that are returning to the workforce. And we consider this population as the returning workforce. And as a part of our services to that community, we will be offering behavioral health services as well. Based on our surveys with our clergy leaders, they stated that mental health was one of the top issues in helping transition individuals back to the community. So yes, as a part of our outreach, we do offer behavior health. But I would like to say, in terms of ministry and mentoring young women, I do see a great need to have them understand that we have a spiritual life. There's the physical part of us, and we also have the emotional, and they all have to work together. And if we're going to be healthy in pursuing our faith, there must be the discipline around your spiritual disciplines. So I find that to be very helpful when I counsel and mentor young women in the
Okay,
church.
and Dr. Angelique, you travel the world, the globe, and so there are many things connected with poverty, racism, where mental health is definitely at the top. Are there things in place for counseling and for mental health help?
I am so glad to say that whether you're in a refugee camp, if you're in places where there is extreme hunger or famine, people are resourceful and they draw upon their faith. And so to be associated with a faith-based movement around policy and engagement in communities really matter. So faith is everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. There are churches in the refugee areas all over, you name it. They are there and God is there. So I would say our faith and any way we express it is a resource for mental stability and mental health.
Dr. Joe, my last question to you is, we're going into Holy Week and we're going to be hearing a song from one of our young women, the Via Dolorosa, talking about going to the cross. What's a word of hope that you will give to our viewers and listeners in terms of how we can get through this and that we will get through this? What's your last word for the day? Dr. Jones?
My last word for today, as we get through this, is what I have told my families who are experiencing teenagers that may be subject to sex trafficking, is to hold them tight. Don't let them go too soon. Keep them up under you. Even with the system, keep our families close. Keep our children close. Don't let them age out too soon. They're not ready for the world. So we have to love them, protect them, nurture them like we have to do for one another. That's our hope. That's our hope. That's our faith. That's what we stand on for each other.
All of you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And we can apply that to everything. Hold on to one another. Hold on to our families. I am so glad you have been holding on to me because I'm not going to let any of you go. You have been awesome. You're powerful. Again, thank you for joining me, Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith, Chaplain Takana Jefferson, Olivia Lang, now minister, and the Reverend Dr. Joan Warden. Thank you for sharing this time with me, and we hope to see you again soon. Have a blessed Holy Week, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Bye-bye.
We are extending a special thank you to the amazing women of faith and favor. We're grateful for all the information you shared with us. It's so relevant for the current times we live in today. So thank you so much. Also, I asked a question about the books that women of power and purpose are reading today. In the chat, you'll see titles of 2 books. One is The Sister's Guide to Survive and Thrive in Ministry by Susan Johnson Cook. And the second one is Too Blessed to Be Stressed, also by Susan Johnson Cook. And now we have a special treat. This young lady is in the 8th grade at Shabbat Christian Academy, introducing Adia Lars with a musical rendition of Via Dolorosa and Beautiful Name.
The soldiers tried to clear the narrow street, but the crowd pressed in to see the man condemned to die on Calvary. He was bleeding from a beating. There were stripes upon his back, and he wore a crown of thorns upon his head, and he bore with every cried out for his dad. Down the Via della Rosa goes the way suffering, like a lamb named the Messiah, Christ the King. But he chose to walk that road out for his love, for you and me. Down the Via della Rosa, all the way to Calvary.
Women, we'd like to welcome you. Women, when we want change, we become the change agents. Women, we'd like to welcome you. The Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce understands that access and finance is needed to help us become the change that we want to see in our communities and globally. The Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce is our voice. This is our time, the time for Black women. How to build and grow your sustainable business? Come be a part of the growing global transformation and see. Today through Monday, enter 4 Black women, one word, all caps, and that's the code for new members to receive 10% discount for the first 20 members, and that will be to join our Global Black Members Chamber of Commerce. This is a great opportunity to become part of this great paradigm shift that's happening for Black women like never before all over the world. Maneuver and position yourself for 6- and 7-figure opportunities, helping you navigate government opportunities and corporate opportunities. The Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce is here for you. If you're a corporation and you'd like to partner with us, well, go to our website and please do. Again, if you'd like to be a member and join, today through Monday, new members a 10% discount for the first 20 members. 4 Black women, all caps, one word.
Thank you so much. Carletta is a founding board member as well. And thank you for that. Our hashtag for today is Black Women, the number 4 Black women. And the discount code is 4 Black women, all caps. And we welcome you. You can go to globalblackwomencc.org, which is our website. But also in the chat, we will be putting the link for membership. We have 102 dynamic Black women birthed in the midst of COVID. We're inviting you to join our movement because you are so important to us. We want you to grow. We're creating businesses. We're connecting businesses. We're collaborating. We're helping sustain and scale businesses so that we can go in those emerging markets that we've been talking about with our guests, the mayor and with the millennials, those emerging trends. We want to be ready because COVID will end. But what are we doing without COVID? What do we do so that we pivot and we're ready for the other side? Well, so many have lost businesses. More than 88% of the businesses lost were from Black women who were employed. And so now we want to make sure that we reverse that trend and start building back up again. So I had the privilege of serving, that's what my little medal is about, serving 199 countries in this globe under President Obama. And as I went around the globe, you know who I saw? Black women starting businesses. And that's why we are the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. This segment now, we're going to media. Some media persons who are on the state and the regional levels and the city levels who cover our stories. You know, it's wonderful to get a story in the Times, the New York Times, or the Washington Post, or the Wall Street Journal, but the people who make sure that our business is covered, even when it can't make it there, to make sure that our press releases hit the pages, are with us today. And so as our media panel joins us, we're going to introduce you to them. We're going to be ready for them right now. Won't they come? We will be talking with Jackie Gales Webb of WHUR. And how are you, Jackie? My classmate, schoolmate from Emerson College. And we'll also be talking with, let's see, who else is going to be joining us today? Well, Jackie, as we're getting ready to have our next guest join us, thank you so much for joining us. WHUR, we were together recently. I was on your home with
HUR at Home Inspiration, and thank you so much, Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook. I'm continuously proud of you and all of your accomplishments from our early days together at Emerson College as communication students. I watched you grow in ministry and then on the national scene as far as becoming an ambassador. Your work with the White House in between is just phenomenal. So thank you so much for having me on this program. The women that you've had thus far have just been so inspirational and so informative that it's going to be a really great opportunity to talk with you about media today.
Well, thank you. Well, we're a Chamber of Commerce, and so we're interested in the business of how we do business. And so equally so, I've watched you. You were on the third floor of 150, our dorm, but you would leave at night to host a radio show there for Emerson College. And so you were the first person I know to be employed in the broadcasting industry. And so you've been at it for 40 plus years. So some people think like you can just wake up and say, I've got this idea, I'm filling this niche. Talk to us about the building of a career where you can be a media leader. Can you talk to us about that, what it takes?
Well, in 2021, media is multi-platform. It's not just radio, it's not just television, it's social media, it's online, it's print, it's many different things. You have to make sure that you know about those different platforms, make sure that you understand the technology, but most of all, you need to be able to have skills in storytelling. You need to have great curiosity about the world around you so that you can keep up with what's going on. In media in 2021 have a great opportunity to serve not only the American people, but the world. Media can assist in helping get out great information about healthcare, about the new normal of COVID-19, about educating our young people about civics, what it means to be an American, your responsibilities in your own communities as far as government. There are so many things that media can really, really do to help this world get back on track. One of them is to help people understand each other.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
Has been created. Media can, by giving voice to the voiceless, giving voice to communities that haven't really been heard before, promote understanding. And that's what we have to do in this 2021 situation, is help Americans to understand people in the middle of the country.
And start bridging some of these gaps and really bringing people together digitally. I remember one of the changing moments for me was when I decided to become a communications major. We had black and white TVs, and I remember the Vietnam War came on television. And so we could see troops in our living room. And I think seeing it made such a big difference for me. What is the transforming platform now that changes, because the world is now in our living rooms, is on our mobile units? What is there some platform that you think is really changing the way we do the world, civic in education?
Social media has a definite game changer, because so many of our young people, that's where they get their information. And unfortunately, there are many outlets on social media that don't give accurate information, one-sided points of view, not giving the viewer the opportunity to learn for themselves, but forcing viewpoints on them. So right now, I think it's important for us to pay attention to what's going on in social media and online, and try to make sure that there's the information that's on it is accurate and balanced, really, so that people can understand why they are thinking a certain way. That's another thing that social media and online is doing. There are ways to manipulate through feelings, through code words. So we have to be very mindful of that.
We were excited when we would hear your voice on the radio, but when we would see a Black anchor on TV, whether it was in Boston or our hometown, now we have Black women who are owning media companies, certainly Kathy Hughes, Deborah Lee, and there have been others. Has there been a Black woman business owner that has inspired you to keep on going?
Well, several. I worked for Kathy Hughes in my early days, so I've seen her growth and have always been very, very proud of her. But not only African-American women, just great women leaders in the public media arena that I work on in. The CEO of the company that I work for, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Patricia Harrison, is a tremendous leader. The head of PBS is a female leader. There are several good, really good general managers of radio and television stations that are really inspirational and are really taking charge of business and doing a fine job at it.
And I'm glad you brought that in, because we were talking in one of our broadcasts about partnerships don't always have to look exactly like us. We can learn from a number of women. So I was going to also ask you, in terms of your learning curve, not only of women who have inspired you, but a businesswoman who's a boomer like myself, who may not have come up through the media. Can she hire the skill set she needs to help her with social media? What would you say to the business owner who may not have the skill set in social media or know how to broadcast? What would you say to her that she needs to have in her toolkit?
If you are a business owner, you need to know marketing. You need to know and understand what your brand is so that you can market it to your audience. So you want to bring in people to help you understand what your brand is, the correct way to market it, and what platforms to market it on. If you want to reach young people, you need to go here. If you want to reach women, you need to go there. You need to understand those things. So definitely bring in some media professionals.
Thank you for sharing that. Let me just give a shout out to our background production team, Cynthia Barnes and Ariel Edmondson, and all those who made this possible, our planning team, some of them you've heard from. But those are the people we had to hire to make sure that this goes well, because I don't know StreamYard, but we know Ariel does. So thank you to my whole team. Even if I didn't call you by name, thank you for everything you've done. Do we have time for one question, Cynthia Barnes?
So what I was going to ask, it's 4:33 and we need to move to the next segment because Joyce needs to move. So we can come back if you'd like after.
Okay, thank you so much.
So we're going to bring Linda Pringle Evans on.
Okay, thank you. Webb. We appreciate it. If you can hang out with us for a little while, our Congresswoman has to vote, so we need to get her in. And if you wouldn't mind hanging out, we'd appreciate it. Please bring in Linda Pringle Evans, our board member. Hello, Linda. You're muted, so we need you to open your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
can you hear me now?
Yes, founding board member, please introduce our next guest.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. As a resident here in Columbus, Ohio, I have witnessed this woman up close and personal. She is one that you truly want to have on your side. I have seen her connect people, policy, and politics to make a difference. And I'm talking about the one and only Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. I'm only going to give a brief overview of her accomplishments. She is chair of the powerful Congressional Black Caucus, Region 10 designee on the Democratic Steering and Policy Committee, and is an influential member of the Democratic Seniors Task Force, co-chair of the Financial and Economic Literacy Caucus and Congressional Heart and Stroke Coalition, deputy vice chair of the Congressional Voting Rights Caucus, and the founder of the Congressional Civility and Respect Caucus. She was previously named one of the Ebony's magazine 150 most powerful African Americans in the United States. It is indeed my pleasure to share with you also. Her husband is attorney Otto Beatty, and they have 2 grandchildren, Laura and Spencer, who refer to Congresswoman Beatty as Grammy. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce and bring forward the Honorable Congresswoman Joyce Beatty.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Her mic is muted. If someone can help us with that, please. Thank you for joining us, Congresswoman. We're so delighted to have you. And let me congratulate you. Her mic is still muted. Let me congratulate you on your recent chairpersonship of the Congressional Black Caucus. We know that you're voting today, and we so appreciate your sharing the time with us. How are you? Can you just let us know how you're doing? We know we can't see you at this moment, but how are you doing? We still need to open her mic, please. We're waiting for the Congresswoman's mic to be opened and unmuted if you can. But let me just share with you as we're doing that she has just represented us so well. You know, the Congressional Black Caucus is the conscience of the Congress. And so we are glad to have the leader of the conscience of the Congress with us, the Congressional Black Caucus chair, recently elected, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. We're having a little technical difficulty getting her in, but we certainly want to celebrate what she is doing, what the Black Caucus is doing. And one of the reasons we began even creating the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce was 2 years ago. I was on a phone call, and the Congressional Black Caucus had named one of their priorities closing the wealth gap. And so immediately I jumped on it. It was also prison reform at that particular time. And I began to talk with other Black women business owners who talked about their want and their desire to collaborate together, to connect together, and to be able to also go up to the Hill and have policy initiatives represented in Congress. And so we are delighted when Congresswoman Joyce Beatty enters the room. I was reading recently about the late Vernon Jordan. They said not only did he appear, but he entered the room. And when he entered the room, the atmosphere shifted. And that's the kind of experience we have with Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. When she enters the room, the atmosphere, she transforms what's happening in that room. And she's stately, she's elegant, she's beautiful. So we're going to see if we can get her in at this time, get past these technical difficulties. We certainly are glad that she carved out time to be with us. While we're waiting for her to come, in the link there, you can join us at the Global Black Women Chamber of Commerce, and our website is globalblackwomencc.org. Go to join here, and for the next 48 hours, there's a 10% discount if you join us, either as a college student, an individual, a small business, or a large business. You can come right in and be part of what we call the movement. We are the only chamber of commerce that focuses solely on Black women business owners around the globe. You've heard from some of the global leaders today, Her Excellency Justina Matali. You've heard from Millennial voices, Natalie Jenkins, Samantha Williams, and Quinn Conyers. You've heard young, you've heard mature, you've heard from ministries that matter, the business of running these ministries and caring for people, not just in your family, but caring for congregations, caring for children who are in the foster system and helping them to unite and connect with a family, caring for chaplains, caring for not only the people in their particular ranks, but caring for an entire base, a military base, so that families who are disconnected can at least feel connected. So we're trying to look at the business aspects, and please let us not leave out Mayor Muriel Bowser, who is the business of running a city, the quick decisions you have to make, the tough decisions you have to make. All of those are things that happen with business owners. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's quite tough. Sometimes you're not particularly ready, but how do you get ready? So what we're trying to talk about is not just making a pivot, but how do you prepare to make that pivot? I am so fortunate to be a third generation Black woman business owner. And I remember my parents were civil servants by day, and then they built their business in our home by night. They were sharecroppers in this generation, but they said, no, we're not going out like that. And they worked and they partnered together. And so one of the things we've tried to do in all of our videos is share the importance of partnering and collaborating. They partnered together, they worked hard, doing dual businesses. Sometimes you have to have a side hustle until you can make it your own. But they discovered a niche. They discovered that there was a void in security guard services in New York City. And it was right at the time when the riots were hitting New York City after Martin Luther King had died and the Black Power movement. People were looting. And so businesses needed a security guard agency to have a man at that time with a billy club and with a uniform to ward off the looters. And that business grew from about 4 men to over 200 men and women in the security guard agency. It is now the longest running Black family-owned business in New York City, 59 years old. But I remember seeing my parents and sitting at their feet, watching the business decisions that they would make, seeing them. At that time, there was a check printer. So instead of writing out the check, you would put the 1, the 2, the 3 in there, and you'd pull this little lever, and then your check would be printed, and a person could take that to the bank. Seeing how they had to have the business of ordering uniforms. You couldn't just wait till the guard showed up, but you had to have various sizes because you didn't know what kind of man was coming at that particular time. So you had to have the uniforms in place, having the equipment that they could take in place. And then they moved into armed guards and security. So all of the various steps that are necessary. Fast forward now, 21st century, they're doing security by digital, digital, just like we're having this particular summit. So we are so delighted to have you join with us. You can join us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, as we are preparing today to receive Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. So we thank you for Cynthia Barnes, who's in our backstage production, Ariel Edmondson, who's in our backstage production. You're hearing the wonderful voice of Reverend Cynthia C.J. Terry. You met our board member, Carletta Birch, and another board member, Quinn Conyers. But I want to give a shout out to our entire board, Earl Amin, Rob Shank, Miss Fanita, all of you who keep us going and flowing, and our newest board member, Joyce Fields. You saw her wonderful commercial. She has a passion for helping Black women get into the Department of Defense industry. Congresswoman Beatty, we've been waiting for you. We're so excited to have you. This is now Jean Wells. How are you today, Jean? We're so happy to have you.
I'm great. Thank you, Susan.
Okay,
Great.
so happy to have you. You're joining us now, but we were sharing the importance of having media that covers our stories. And
Yes.
so for many years, you're the head, one of the co-publishers of Positive Community. Tell us how old Positive Community is.
Oh, we are in our 21st year now.
Wow.
We've been publishing for 20 years. And of course, you are our first cover.
I thank you so much. And I've been on 5 times, but it's so important because sometimes people can't get into the larger publications, but you make sure the community news and views are carried, and it's done with such excellence and quality. I remember you had to schlep those magazines over to churches, but so
Yes.
many people now look for it. What was the vision for doing that?
Well, the vision, Adrian, my business partner, very well.
Yes.
Our vision was that there was so much bad news in the media, in the general media, and even in some of our own Black media. And there's so much good that happens in our community that we just didn't know about and other people didn't know about.
Yes.
So in order to, and so much has always come, so much good has always come out of the church. In terms of all of the things that we have done, the civil rights, education, social, it's happened from the church. And
so we're the Chamber of Commerce, and we're interested in the business of running a publication. So you couldn't just wake up one day and say, let's put all these pictures in a magazine and create it. So tell us some of the steps. You have to have a photographer. Who else do you have to have in your toolkit? You have to have a photographer, writers, please tell us what it takes to run a business.
Well, we have photographers, we have writers, we have graphics people. Graphics people are very, very important too. Mm-hmm. You talked about the quality of how the magazine looks. We have 2 great graphic designers who work on the magazine. we have to have a printer.
Mm.
So we're doing all that. And now in this age, we have had to add the technical side in terms of we have a very vibrant and busy website. And Ms. Webb, who was talking to you prior, talked about social media. We're doing social media. So that's another kind of person that we need to have, or people. And
Yes.
so it's, you talk about keeping up and pivoting. That's something that we have had to do for the last 20 years.
So is it a hybrid? Do you do some print now and some digital?
We're
With
still
churches being closed, where do you put the magazines?
Where do we print it? Is that what you said?
No. With churches many of them being closed during COVID, where now do you place the magazines?
Well, we're placing the magazine. A lot of the churches are still taking the magazine and distributing them in whatever ways they can. Some of them are vaccination sites or testing sites, or their food giveaways, or all of those kinds of things. So they ask us to still make certain that we still get the magazines to them so that they can then give them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
I
of
was
course-
fortunate to host your virtual Emancipation Day.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
similar to what we're doing today, I mean, all of us are learning these new platforms. This is our first time on StreamYard. We've used Zoom before, but there's even practice that has to go into that. I remember 2 days of rehearsal to make sure that things would flow on that Emancipation Day. Are you finding that you're reaching more or a different audience because of the digital space?
We're definitely reaching more, and perhaps different. Perhaps different, broadening it out, because we call our publication a faith-based lifestyle publication. So we cover everything that everybody does, but we make sure that there's no bad news, and our total goal is to uplift. That's why we're here, to uplift the people, to let them know who we are.
Awesome.
And the thing about it is, because we're regional, although the web has put us on a global, and thanks to you, we're even more global. The web has put us on an international basis. But one of the niche that we started out with is that people could see people they know doing good things. And it happens so frequently that, people see people they know and they're happy about it. We have subscriptions all over the United States because somebody moved out of the city or moved out of New Jersey, and they want to keep up with what's happening in their church, what's happening in their community. So, that's what
Let me thank you publicly, and Adrian, who I thank frequently, but not only for giving me print, but for giving us information that we need to keep on going. We're going to see if there's a time from Cynthia Barnes, who's our gatekeeper. Cynthia, give us our instructions for this moment. Cynthia, can you hear me?
Say yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
what are our instructions for this moment?
So yes, we were still trying to get Congresswoman's video and microphone on. So at this time, we were just, the question that we had for Jean is, during this time, what, in terms of Black women owners, business owners, are there areas that we can go and look for support from the media in running, getting our businesses out?
Well, of course, we constantly cover businesses and not-for-profits, and we cover them. But of course, we survive on advertising, so it has to be a mutual support. If we, and every page costs. So we're happy to help people and to give. We have a segment this month called Women in Leadership, and we have 4 women who are local business people or work for a local company, and so we do those kinds of things. But just reach out to us if anybody has something that they want to cover. Reach out to us and we'll make it happen.
So I would have one last question for you. How far down the road do you have to be thinking? So we're in March, the end of March. What publication are you on now? May, June, July?
Oh no, we're not that far ahead.
Okay.
And surprisingly, the printing has changed. we now turn around our printing for the magazine in 2 days. When it used to be, when we first started, it was 2 weeks.
Yes.
So it's a little easier. We can go a little closer to when the magazine needs to come out.
Well, we thank you for sharing with us. We're glad that you got in Jean Wells, who is now the co-publisher of the Positive Community. We are so delighted to have you. And again, our blessings to you. Thank you for running a great business, an ethical business, faith-based business that keeps our business going and flowing. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for staying with us. We'll be right back in a few moments. Let's now hear from our producers.
We have had such a wonderful time so far, hearing from powerful women. There's been celebration. There's been conversation, of course. There's been contemplation. But more than that, there has been connection. And that's one of the platforms for the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. You are able to connect with people. What would it be like to connect with someone in another country? We have 7 countries represented among all of the people who are with us today, as well as 7 states. So we have that added advantage of connection. Thank you again for spending your afternoon with us. We have had a wonderful time, and our next series, Series 3, be on the lookout for it.
Thank you so much for sharing your afternoon with us. Congresswoman Beatty is in the midst of votes, and we tried to get her in, but thank you so much for making the time in your schedule to try to be with us. We want to again thank all of our panelists, Mayor Muriel Bowser. We want to thank our Millennial panel, Natalie Jenkins, Quinn Conyers, and Samantha Williams. I want to thank our media panel. You just heard from the Dynamic Jean on Positive Community, Jackie Gales Webbs. We want to thank you for being with us. Our ministries that are making a difference, Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith, Chaplain Takana Jefferson, A. Olivia Lang, and Reverend Dr. Joan Wharton. But most of all, we want to thank you for staying with us. Again, thank all of our team who helped seamlessly put this together. We thank you for registering. We had almost 1,000 women register. Yes, we're going to be coming back with Virtual Summit 3, and we hope that you will join the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce movement so that you can celebrate our launch. We were birthed in the midst of COVID, but look what has happened. 102 women business owners later, and God is still blessing us. We know that it's been a great day. We thank you for sharing with us. I want to thank the First Baptist Church of Bridgehampton for their production team, Reverend Tish Williams, and all of you for being with us today. Again, let us know where you're coming from. Just put in the chat real quick before we leave. Tell us your city or your country, because we are so amazed at the kind of response that we got. We're going to be here for you because you were here with us. Give us a thumbs up, comment, and this will be rebroadcast on YouTube at a later time so others may be able to see it. Again, thank you for sharing your wonderful day with us. And this may be the last time we'll be together for today, but I hope it will not be the last time we're together. Come grow with us. Join our movement. We are connecting, creating, collaborating, sustaining, and scaling businesses. Most of all, we're thanking you. And thank you for that beautiful Via Dolorosa Bayaria. Thank you. She's a student at Shabak Academy. And thank you for sharing that beautiful voice with us. Read these 2 books, Too Blessed to Be Stressed, Words of Wisdom for Women on the Move. It helps with our mental health. It's a spiritual approach, scriptural steps to keeping our balance and not burning out. And also for those who are interested in any level of ministry, The Sister's Guide to Survive and Thrive in Ministry. That's on Judson Press. The first one is on Thomas Nelson. You can get them anywhere that books are sold. Again, Ariel, Cynthia, the team, Jackie Jimenez, all of you, Linda Pringle Evans, Carletta. Love you, Cynthia Terry. God bless you, and may God bless America. May you have a great holy season for those who celebrate, and we will be with you again soon. Thank you so much for your time.